Thursday, April 25th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mannel. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to chat with Cape and Islands Workforce Development Board Executive Director, David Agostino. He's going to tell us all about the latest employment numbers for Barnstable County. Then we're going to learn more about the new building being proposed by Cape Cod Regional Technical High School and when Barnstable residents will see that issue at the ballot box. We're going to talk about that with Town Clerk Ann Quirk. And finally, we'll learn more about how PIEs are raising awareness for Parkinson's Support Network of Cape Cod. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. The Charter Review Committee will present its findings to the full council during tonight's Town Council meeting. Then in Old Business, Council will again take up a request for $675,000 for the Osterville Recreation Building Design and Construction Project. Town Council will also have a first reading of the town's operating budget. Town Council meets at 7 tonight in the Town Hall hearing room. Well, CC Construction will be paving Burses Way in Hyannis this week. That work will be done between Pitchers Way and Enterprise Road through May 1st. Vehicles traveling south on Burses Way will be detoured down Pitchers Way, and vehicles traveling north from Route 28 will be minimally impacted. As traffic will consist of one lane, motorists are advised to seek alternate routes during construction. Up next, we're going to chat with Cape and Islands Workforce Development Board Executive Director, David Agostino. So David, thanks so much for joining me today. Very excited to talk about the latest employment figures that you have for the month of February. How was it this month? Did we do a great job getting people back to work, or how did the numbers look?
We did a pretty good job, Sarah. In February of 2017, our unemployment rate was 7.2%, which seems high. The state rate was 4.2%, but of course we have seasonality in our economy. Not as much as we used to have, but we have some seasonality. But that's down from 7.9% at the same time last year. So we're better off than we were at the same time last year. We didn't go up that much from January. We only went up 0.4 of a percentage point from 6.8% to 7.2%. So we're better off than we were at the same time last year. We didn't go wildly off the tracks between January and February. And hopefully March numbers will be pretty much the same, and then obviously in April and going on we'll start to pick up our numbers and we'll be below the state average. That's
right. So do you typically see that the Cape and Islands having a higher unemployment rate than maybe the rest of the state just because of that seasonality? And do you see that sort of go away when we hit our peak season?
It more than goes away. One of the things that I used to look at a lot, and I'll have to say that I haven't looked at it much lately, is I look at our annual employment rate, and if you go over the years, you'll see that we're not that far off from the state on an annual basis. Although the state has been doing extremely well for the last 2 years. One of the hallmarks of the last recession, and you know what's funny, I was thinking the other day, we talk about the Great Recession in 2008, 2009. Oh my God, that's 8 years ago.
Wow, it doesn't seem like 8 years ago.
Even my wallet still thinks it's going on, but it really isn't. So, for the state, so what happened in Massachusetts is we didn't do as poorly as the rest of the country, which caused some issues for us in that the resources for the Federal Department of Labor go to places that have higher unemployment. And there were a number of reasons why we didn't. Number one was during the dot-com bust in the early 2000s, we took the big hit in Massachusetts. So we were kind of operating off a lower base. But anyway, so we weren't as bad off as the rest of the country, and I think that's really being reflected in the state's rates now. I mean, 4.2%, that's a pretty low unemployment rate, and I think the national average is a little closer to 5%. But that's down pretty good also. So it does.
Good news. That's good news.
It is good news, and it's better than it was the year before. I still think that the construction industries, once they came back, because even in February, there's a lot of people doing remodeling and that kind of activity. So I think that's part of what's contributing to our being better off than we were the year before.
Wonderful. Good news there. We'll take that. I want to talk to you guys. Have a very special program called Artworks. How is this involved in your organization?
Well, Artworks is part of our School to Careers program. So School to Careers, we do a lot of internships and career exploration. So we're in 11 of the 15 school districts in the region, and so we help those school districts to develop internships and to do things like have a career day, and we do the construction career day in October, where a lot of schools come to that to get some insights into construction jobs in the region and stuff. So, but Artworks is a very special part of that program. We take 40 young people a year. Actually, this year we used to do mostly seniors. Now we're doing everywhere sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And these 40 young people, we have them mentored by a working artist. And usually part of the deal, not always, but we try to have them take the internship at the artist's studio, so that they get kind of a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look, and also a little look at the business side of the arts. Because a lot of young people think that all you have to do is be a little creative and everything will be okay. And unfortunately, if you don't sell your work, you're going to wind up not doing too well. So we try to get them a little bit of that. So 40 young people work with their mentors through 20 each semester, and then we cap it at the end of the year. We have a large event, grand opening, an art show. This year it's going to be May 9th at the Higgins Art Center, Art Gallery in the Tilden Art Center at Cape Cod Community College. And it'll run that whole week there, and then we usually try to move it around the Cape a little bit. I know it's going to be down in Preservation Hall in Wellfleet, probably not until the fall sometime. But I think it's actually going to be down there at the time of the Oyster Festival. So
wonderful.
Hopefully there'll be a lot of people who get a chance to see the work that these students produce. It's a very unique program to our region. Of course, the arts here being that we're a hospitality-based economy, the arts and the creative economy in general plays a very important part of our economy. So we're delighted that we have this program where young people can begin to develop their craft, be a little more, get some support, work with a working artist, and if art is their eventual career choice, we think that the Artworks program gives them a step up as they're moving into that career.
I would think that, just like you said, so important for these students to get a firsthand knowledge from someone who's in the industry, someone who's dealing with the pitfalls of being your own business owner. So maybe give them a little bit of perspective before they hop
Absolutely.
full force in.
One of the great things about the program in the last few years is we've been able to greatly expand the areas that we work in. It used to be essentially painting and pottery. That's pretty much what they did. Now we've included voice, poetry, animation, landscape design, fashion design. We had a student last year that did fabulous outfit and stuff, fashion design. So these other areas that really are a very important part of the arts now are part of the program, and I think it gives us a chance to reach a lot more young people because of the kind of wider breadth of the program.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, telling us all about the Artworks program as well as the latest employment figures.
And I see my work has taken effect here. Now we're calling them the employment figures.
That's right.
I like it. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, we've switched over. So thank you so much, David.
Thanks,
we
Sarah.
really appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
My guest today, David Augustino. He's the Executive Director of the Cape and Islands Workforce Development Board. Cape Cod Regional Technical High School officials are hoping Cape residents will support a proposal to build a new $143 million building. I got a chance to chat with Town Clerk Ann Quirk about when voters will get a chance to weigh in. So Ann, thank you so much for joining me today. We have a huge topic to talk about today. Cape Cod Regional Technical High School has proposed a new building. They estimate the cost right now would be about $141 million. To get this funded, they have to go and have a separate vote across all 12 towns on Cape Cod. This is a very interesting situation we find ourselves in. Want to learn more about it from your perspective as a town clerk. What does this mean? What does the vote mean for you in your office? Because I think that vote's happening in October.
Yes, it is, October the 24th. all 12 towns from Mashpee down to Provincetown are involved in this because we all are part of the Cape Cod Regional Technical High School. The tech feels that they need a new building, and they've been having ongoing meetings regarding this. My concern is that this vote through all 12 towns from 12 noon until 8 p.m. on Tuesday the 24th of October is a popular vote. So should one town say vote no all the way across and others vote yes, it's the popular total vote. So if the yeses have one more than the noes, when we add them all up, we're in on this vote. We're going to have to come up with 141 million between the 12 towns.
And that 141 million, let's talk about that. It's a really large figure, and it could really have a great impact on many towns. So that is divvied up based on how many children are sent from the district you live in. So let's say Barnstable, we probably send the bulk of kids, or we have probably the majority of kids who attend the school from Barnstable. So a lot of that weight would be weighted onto Barnstable, which means, I think you have a figure, it would be over a 30-year period, is that right?
Yes, so it's 1.8 million for the town of Barnstable because we send, I think our figure is 30 students this year that we are sending. So 1.8 million spread out over the, per year for 30 years equals $54 million out of our budget for the tech.
So, and so everyone understands and can sort of take in the gravity of that, that's 1.8 million per year for a 30-year period. So 55 million is a big chunk of change for Barnstable. Now let's talk about that funding stream and where that would come from, because at this point we don't really know. So if the towns, and like you said, it's not as if all of the towns have to approve it, it's the popular vote across the community, across the 12 towns.
Correct.
So if that was approved, we would be stuck with that bill. To pay for it is a little bit trickier though. So if we wouldn't, there is an option to pass a 2.5 override. But if that wasn't passed, the town budget would have to take that hit. And it could mean a reduction in services and possibly staff as well.
It would definitely do that, because if you take $1.8 million out of the general fund before you do anything else every year, that has to reduce people and services that we offer, hours of operation. We're not even sure how it's all going to pan out at this point.
So the only way to keep it taking out of the general fund here in the town of Barnstable would be to pass that 2.5 override. But that would impact residents and homeowners because they would see their taxes increase to then pay for that cost. So when that is a separate vote.
That's a separate vote.
To pass a 2.5 override.
Yes.
So voters may be hesitant to do that if it affects their personal taxes.
And I understand, it's my taxes too, it's your taxes, it's for all of us. The question then becomes, how do you weigh that out? Do I lose more services in the town and jobs? Do I pay a little bit more on my taxes? And I wish I knew the figure. I don't know how that would come out across all of the property owners throughout the town of Barnstable. But if I knew that, then Is that a figure
we'll be able to have maybe as we get closer to the vote so voters can consider that, or is that just a really tricky number to calculate?
I would have to go back to the assessor and see if we could do that once it gets closer, because right now that the $141 million could actually be $150 million. That's kind of the ballpark that we're looking at right now. We don't have a definite number yet. And according to Cape Cod Regional Technical High School, they won't have that figure until, I believe, the end of August. So it kind of pulls it close for us to try and figure out everything for all of our taxpayers. But it's going to affect all of our taxpayers one way or the other.
Right, and so many towns as well. So
Oh,
many town
yes.
budgets are really hinging on this. Thinking about other communities, Dennis Yarmouth, they have a lot of issues at times with their finances in educational wise. And so this could really impact them in a huge way because they also send a lot of students.
They do. They send almost as many as we do. So they're going to have a large chunk of this as well. It's and it's not to say that, you know, the Tech is a great school. I know people who've graduated and were able to go right out into the work world and have a job and do very, very well. But it's just such a large amount of money.
You know, thinking about that large amount of money, we recently saw something similar on a much smaller scale with the Hyannis Fire Department. So this may be something that residents can compare it to. They had to go before voters 3 times to get their project approved. Many people were not so supportive of the high cost, what they felt was a high cost for that fire station. So plans were scaled back. Estimates were, you know, it was scaled back a little bit, plans, and then it was brought back before voters. Do you think that there'll be any negotiation here or changes as they go through this process?
Bob Sanborn, who is the superintendent of schools at the Cape Cod Regional Tech, has said to us that if this does not pass, it will come back again. They need the building, so they're going to have to do whatever they need to do in order to make this pass. So that would be my...
Is there a limit to how many times a year it can be brought before voters?
No, there's not a limit because the school actually has to pay for this election. So
Interesting.
An election for the town of Barnstable cost us more than $30,000. So they're going to have to recoup that cost for us for this October ballot. So each time they bring it back, they will be faced with that from all 12 towns.
Wow, what a high cost. So thank you for joining us today and talking a little bit about that. I know we'll probably talk again about this in the near future because I think it's going to be a huge issue for everyone as we head to the polls in October. So thank you for your perspective. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My guest today, Town Clerk Ann Quirk. Now we're going to find out how pies are raising awareness for the Parkinson Support Network of Cape Cod. So ladies, thank you for joining me today. Very excited to talk about this important topic. First of all, we need to say April is Parkinson Awareness Month. So this is really an important thing. Joyce, you actually founded, you're the founder and president of the Parkinson Support Network here on Cape Cod. Why was it so important for you to found this organization?
Well, my husband had Parkinson's disease. He was diagnosed with it, and about a year after he was diagnosed, I was looking for support here on Cape Cod, and there wasn't any. And so in discussions with several healthcare professionals on the Cape, they suggested that I start my own group. And so 10 years ago, this is our 10th anniversary, I started the Parkinson Support Network with the help of several healthcare organizations, namely Cape Cod Healthcare, Elder Services, Beth Israel Medical Center, BU Medical Center. Last year, we became formally a branch of the American Parkinson's Disease Association, which is a very big deal for us because we're now part of a national organization and we get a lot more support. But over the last 10 years, we've done a lot of work for this community, of which we believe there could be 2,000 patients.
Wow. That's so impressive. Talk to me about some of the things that your organization does really to help people that are dealing with this.
So our focus is to improve quality of life for our community, and through that we sponsor educational seminars so they can come to our educational seminars, hear from experts on Parkinson's disease, many of whom we bring down from Boston. We also have started an initiative to do wellness programs here on Cape Cod. We have partnered with the YMCA, who are doing a Pedaling for Parkinson program twice a week. We've partnered with the Cape Cod Conservatory to do a Sing for Joy program. And starting yesterday, actually, at the Hyannis Community Center, we started a yoga for Parkinson patients in collaboration with Yoga Neighborhood. We also do a caregiver seminar. We sponsor 6 support groups across the Cape from Bourne, Mashpee, Barnstable, Orleans, Chatham, and Martha's Vineyard.
Wow, so important, I think, because like you said, when you were turning to look for help, and support, and to find others who are dealing with your issues. Pretty tough when there isn't anything there. So really exciting that we have something like this on Cape Cod. So one thing you're doing to raise awareness for the work that you do and to let people know you're around and that you're there for support is you're doing pies for Parkinson's.
Yes,
this is exciting.
This is Rose DiGregorio, who is my pie lady, and through her efforts, she has put together this wonderful package and gotten some great sponsors, including Table Talk Pies, who are donating 1,000 pies to us. And
That's a lot of pies.
That is a lot of pies.
1,000 pies and counting.
Right, I'm going to let Rose talk about this project because it's her baby, and she's doing a fabulous job with it.
Thank you, Joyce.
Rose, why the pies?
Well, it's funny because I recently joined the board of directors for the Parkinson's Support Network on Cape Cod. And literally, I think it was like 3 months ago, so I'm really a new team member here. But anyway, we were sitting around the board table, and someone said, you know, we need to do something for April. It's Parkinson's Awareness Month. What do we want to do? So people are brainstorming. Joyce, I believe, said, well, someone had a great idea, pancakes for Parkinson's. And I said, that's kind of interesting. And then we kind of said, oh. So anyway, to make a long story short, they basically said, does anybody want to take on a project for fun, not fundraising, but community awareness? April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. So I said, I'll do it. So, I was thinking, pancakes, okay, I got to call a few people who can flip pancakes. To make a long story short again, I said, not pancakes, pies. And as soon as I said pies in my head, I said, bingo, and it just kept going, and I knew how to put it together. Because I'm from Worcester, I'm a Worcester girl, I said Table Talk Pies. And, there was some discussion about who we should ask. Table Talk was the place that I knew I could get the volume that I needed to really launch a community awareness outreach campaign here on Cape Cod. And it just developed from there. It's a pilot project. Literally, we launched it April 1st. And I want to walk through the package because I think that really...
So you're taking these packets around and you're handing them out. Where are you giving them out?
Well, there's a number of different places. Literally, what people have to understand is the community awareness outreach. And everyone thinks, it's an elder person's disease. But it's a family. Families are dealing with it. Whether you're a grandchild who has to now visit a grandfather, whether you're a son and a daughter taking care of a mom, whether you're a spouse. When it comes to diseases and managing those chronic diseases, it's a family. And so with that said, I'm delivering this to the community, literally. And that's why we're trying to get as many presentations out there. We're delivering it to firefighters because Joyce can speak to that at another time. We're delivering it to on the street. We're going to be at the April 23rd Open Streets, Hyannis. They invited us, so we plan to be there. And then we're at the Barnstable Senior Center. And this is really one that's very important. With this, too, that we think is important for people to come and learn more about not only what's in the bag in the project, but also about the nuts and bolts of the support network. One of them is April 20th at 1 o'clock at the Barnstable Senior Center, and we ask people to RSVP for that.
And for that one, you really want people to RSVP to the Barnstable Senior Center
we do.
For this event.
We do.
If you want to attend, if someone's watching and saying, this is really something I could get a lot of benefit from, call the Senior Center, sign up. Of course, you said April 20th at 1 p.m.
1 p.m.,
Very important.
Yes. And the phone number, maybe you could list that at the end of the...
Absolutely,
okay,
yes.
Great. And so, again, to walk through the pie, but the package, what I really want people to know is obviously you eat the pie. And as Joyce says, enjoy the pie. It's Table Talk. This is the tag on the package, and this is what we want you to hold on to because we want you to share this with a family or a colleague, whether it's a professional or any member of the community that can, put this in this wallet. And I know Mrs. B down the street, or I deal with folks all the time. This is the information. It's the 800 number, and it's also the website. And then, of course, because it's important to us to keep this project sustainable, I need to thank the sponsors. And I want to take that moment, if I could, Sarah.
Oh, please, let us know.
Okay, thank you. The sponsors are the sponsors are Table Talk Pie, who donated 1,000 pies, and as I say, counting, because we're requesting more and more. Cape Cod 5, Home Instead Senior Care, Westgate Home Medical Equipment, Whole Health Pharmacy, Decatur House, Case Estate and Elder Law PC, in the law office of Laura McDowell May, PC. And without their support, this would not have taken off.
So important to see the community come
Yeah.
together to raise awareness and increase support for
Yep.
individuals dealing with this.
And then, as Joyce had started speaking to, a program calendar that lists all of the program activities of 2017. Joyce can speak more to this because she's been very involved in developing this all with the team that they've put together over the last year. So it's just part of the package that I put together, but they worked hard to get this all together. And what's great is it's all free. It's free to families with Parkinson's. Very important. And then a letter from Joyce sharing her experience and our mission. I think that's it, Joyce.
Yes, that's
And
it.
you know, Joyce, I want to talk to you too because there's another event that's really important. Friday, May 1st, we want to talk about, there is an event at the Mashpee Senior Center, and this is really a very important, informative educational series. Tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, so this is the first of our series, and if you look at this, we have four educational seminars coming up. It's the first one of the year. It's taking place on Friday, April 21st at the Mashpee Senior Center. We ask people to be there at 10:30 for seating. It's called Wellness in Motion, and we have various healthcare professionals coming to talk about wellness programs. For instance, we have a member of the Y coming to talk about the pedaling for Parkinson's disease. We have a yoga instructor coming to talk about yoga. We have the instructor that does the Sing for Joy program coming to talk about singing, how important that is for the muscles in the throat. And Dr. Allen is going to be the moderator. So we're really excited about that program. It'll go from 11:30 to 12:30, but we encourage everybody to get there early for seating. But we also want people to RSVP to our 800 number, which I know you'll put up on at the end of this program.
Absolutely.
But this is so wonderful because it's one-shot deal where you can see all the things that we're doing for the year.
Love it. I love it. I love you guys working so hard to make it a better place here on Cape Cod. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for telling me all about the Parkinson's Support Network of Cape Cod. We really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
good luck spreading the word.
Thank you for
Sarah.
having us,
I have a
Sarah.
feeling you'll have a really easy time when you're handing out pies.
I think so. Thanks again.
Thanks so much. Our guest today, Rose Di Gregorio, and of course, Joyce Genuvis. Now let's find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. The Cape Youth Orchestra will perform at Cape Cod Community College. The show, called Inspired, will feature music by the Cape Youth Orchestra, debut strings, and winds in collaboration with local artists and art students across Cape Cod. The event will showcase original 2D and video art inspired by the music itself. The concert will be held in the Grossman Commons at Cape Cod Community College Monday, May 1st from 6:45 to 7:45. The only meeting tonight is Town Council. Town Council, of course, will meet at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. Well, thanks for tuning in today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.